instituted in New York in the 1840s. In other words, what happened was is that you had to be a property owner to vote.
Mm-hmm.
White folks, all you had to do was own $100 worth of property. You were considered right to vote.
Uh-huh.
So they upped the ante on black folks, that you had to have $250 worth of property in order to vote.
And what did Gerrit Smith do?
Gerrit Smith was one of the richest guys, and he was also an abolitionist in New York, upstate New York. He owned something like around 3,000-4,000 acres of property up there.
Uh-huh.
And he said, okay, fine, I'll give 120,000 acres to 3,000 people that you can gather. He went down and he told black abolitionists, Frederick Douglass, and all the rest of the abolitionists, go to New York and find me 3,000 men that can come up here and take 40 acres of this property. And they own $250 worth of property. And they can vote and be citizens. So they did, they made it done the project. Some people took the property. Some people went up there and tried to live and couldn't make it because it was too damn cold.
Mm-hmm.
Because they were down here in New York and they was not used to that Adirondack's temperature up there, freezing.
Right.
In fact, one guy froze to death by the name of Henderson. He froze to death. And so we don't know how many other froze to death up there.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't have the proper clothing. Then they go up there with the proper food in order to last the winter. Farming is very difficult up there. Some of the land was in swamp land. Some of it was in rocky land. Then they had to clear the property in order to make a profit. So they didn't go up there with the proper resources.
Mm.
So it didn't work out as the way they wanted it to do. Then you got unscrupulous surveyors who, although they worked for Gerrit Smith, they were not as enthusiastic about having black folks vote. So they kind of sabotaged it a little bit too.
Mm-hmm.
John Brown, the notorious John Brown, who people depict as being crazy and a killer and hunting down white folks and killing them and shooting them and all that kind of was not that John Brown. John Brown was a very dedicated abolitionist who wanted to do everything he possibly could to eliminate slavery
Mm-hmm.
and enslavement. And he moved up there. He accumulated 250, he went and bought 200 acres of land from Gerrit Smith. And he stayed up there some of the time in order to try to help those black folks manage their farm. His wife made clothes and they helped to, also while he had his property, he also used his house as an underground railroad station to get black folks who were fugitives